And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, my dears. My name is Pasha. And firstly, I want to ask you, do you hear me and see me good or no? It's like a typical radio check in our broadcasts. I hope that's always good. Sorry that I'm so late. I wanna see your pluses, my dear. I'm see hello message, but okay, first pluses, Jen Rai, Alan Archer. Two right places, my dear. Thanks that you are answering me. Yes, because I cannot trust to my recording devices, but I can trust only for you. My OBS studio can lie me that do you see me or hear me? Yeah, it was a couple problem on a previous broadcast, but if always okay, if always good, we can start our broadcast from traditional information. And traditionally, we start in our broadcast from numbers. From how numbers? Who remember? Who know? If you firstly on our broadcast, if you are firstly on our channel, just push subscribes button, push like, and push notification. And first good information on our broadcast, it's Russian loses. Every broadcast I'm reporting how many Russian lose soldiers. And for today, it's number 188,000 soldier. 188,000. More accuracy, it will be 188,410. 410 Russian losers. It's a little bit more than 1 year of war. Yeah, it's a 1 year and 2 months, and we see result. For example, it's numbers, I don't know, like Ukrainian army soldiers numbers in 2010 year. Yeah, it's a good result. Thanks for armed forces in Ukraine. Thanks for National Guard who make more better Russian on Ukrainian territory. And my dears, you can see blue message. It's on top of your chat. What is a blue message? It's a question mode. On this, if you push on this blue message, you open question mode and can give me a question, and I'm answer on your question. I'm just check comments after previous broadcast, and I see that you are like relaxed broadcasts when we just discussing, when we just talking about something in a chat, when you ask something about Ukraine, about culture, and I'm answer on this question. And I think that it can be interesting for you and for cooperation with my auditory, with viewers who are here, more comfortable. It will be used question functions, and I see a couple questions, first questions, but I'm answer a little bit later, so little bit. And before I start broadcast, I'm see in the comments that you are discussing about Chernobyl catastrophe. Who don't know, in 26 April in 1986 year, in Ukraine, in Soviet Ukraine, near Chernihiv in Kiev district, was I think the biggest technogen disaster in the world. It was a big explosion on a Chernobyl nuclear station. So, and its disaster, its catastrophe influence not only on Ukraine or not only Soviet Union, radioactive cloud moving to the United States, to the Belarus, to the European country, and I think it was a biggest technogenical catastrophe in the world, in my opinion. And yeah, we had similar situation in a Fukushima, for example, but in a Fukushima it was more later, and Fukushima was more safety. And with Fukushima we understand that it's just a nature influence on a nuclear station, yes, and we had a catastrophe on a Fukushima. But after 30 years, we doesn't know why it's happened. We doesn't know because Russian Soviet government tried to hide information about Chernobyl catastrophe. And if you don't know, in Ukraine, in Soviet Union at this time, for example, we had holidays at 1st May. Yes, and it's holidays for workers. I can't translate it, but on Russian it's mean День солидарности трудящихся. It was a big holiday in Soviet Union, and every year at 1st May where they made a parade on in Kyiv, in Moscow, in all big city in Ukraine. And you should understand that 5 days after big explosion in a Chernobyl atomic electric station, after this catastrophe, government don't informate it about it for people, don't alert people, don't warning people that it's happened. They try to hide in catastrophe. Soviet government don't start evacuating from a Chernobyl. They try to hide it, but we understand how result of this activity. It's very dangerous for health, for people. It's very dangerous for the nature. It's radiation. It's overdose of radiation. Yes, and when Soviet soldiers and Ukrainian Soviet soldiers try to fix consequences of this catastrophe, government just tried to hide this catastrophe, and they just say nothing for people, and it was a very, very big mistake, I think. It means that for Soviet people in this time and for Russian like this in this time people, for this government it's nothing, people doesn't matter for him. And it's mean and it's first reason why government don't talking about it. They just lied for the people. You know that at this time we doesn't have a free media, for example. Yes, all was controlled by government, but it's happened, and now we cannot do something. But we should remember about victims of this catastrophe, and we should remember about liquidators, about scientists who worked on this station, and we should remember about this day. It's day not only about big catastrophe, its biggest catastrophe. It's day when Soviet government show his real face. When they show that people for him doesn't matter. People for Soviet government is nothing. Only at this day they show it. And I think that Chernobyl, it was one of reason for crash Soviet Union. Not only economical situation, not only political situation, not only Afghanistan. You know that Afghani war for Soviet Union, it was very failure war. Yes, and Chernobyl, it's the reason for crashing Soviet Union, but it's reason with a big numbers of victims. And we should remember about him, about the heroes who work on the station, about liquidators, and about people who live in a Chernobyl. You know, after this catastrophe in Chernobyl, made it 30 quadrat kilometers zone. This information for all world that near Chernobyl station, government made a 30 quadrat kilometers limited zone, but we had not only 30 kilometer zone, we had a 50 kilometer zone. And when I'm served in First President Brigade, I have a service in Chernobyl. It was a counter-diversion operation when Chernobyl forest was burned. Yes, and I'm see this building, Chernobyl's building in Pripyat, and I'm trying to remember what's name. In Poliska. I'm living in Poliska sometime when I was in Chernobyl with my company. And you know, when you come in a flat, it's just a typical Soviet flat, and you can see magazines, you can see some paper, some trash, and you can understand that at this moment in April 1986 year, life just stopped in this region, because cities like a Chernobyl, like a Pripyat, like a Poliska, and a lot of small villages was evacuated at this time. So yes, and not only about sad information, but we should remember about this catastrophe, and we should remember what Soviet government do during this catastrophe. And to my, it's like a next stage of our broadcast. I'm done. Couple words about Chernobyl. And to my Australian and the New Zealand friends, I would like to wish a belated Happy Anzac. Do you know what is Anzac? Who know? Just if you understand what I mean by word Anzac, just write in the comments. Who know what is Anzac? So for those who don't know what Anzac Day, it is a holiday to pay respect to Australian and the New Zealand troops. Anzac stands for Australian New Zealand Army Corps. It was a name used in the First World War. And I'm a little bit late. I'm a little bit late. Sorry, my Australian and New Zealand friends, but happy Anzac, my dears. And I wanna say hello to my Australian friend, uh, maybe my once of best friend. It's my volunteers with called Sign Weekend. His name Danny. I'm talking about him. Danny, personally, happy Anzac, stay safe and come back in Ukraine. So who don't know, when I was foraging squad commander, I had Australian in my team, and it's Australian Danny. He is I don't know, maybe it's a greatest warrior in the world. So Danny, hello, cheers, Red Bull today for you, and cheers for all Australian and the New Zealand. So I'm seeing a comment that a lot of people know about Anzac. It's very good. It's very good to know about stories of New Zealand and Australia. And in the First World War, we had so many interesting. One second. During First World War, we had so many interesting events, and we see how nations were united during the First World War. They united against one enemy, and doesn't mean some country. Yes, and in First World War we had an interesting political situation. Empires fight against empires, but we don't forget about these events like Anzac, because it's show how as a population, as a nation, can fight in a cooperation like a one mechanism. It's very important, and I hope that Ukraine, it too will be one part of a big mechanism of Western countries. I hope that in Ukraine we will have our own Anzac, but not Anzac, maybe Ukraine Zag or Ukrainian NATO Zag. So, about power plants, Teresa Unspoke asked. One moment, I'm just change screen. Teresa Unspoke, how do you feel about the Zaporizhzhia power plants that the work have invaded for over a year? So in Zaporizhzhia power plants, we had a difficult situation, because Zaporizhzhia power plants under Russian control, and Russian occupation soldier controlled all power plants workers, and they controlled all power plant scientists. And reconnaissance reported that in Zaporizhzhia power plants, a lot of landmines, a lot of plastic, and a lot of very dangerous explosive materials item. I don't know. So, and if something happened with Zaporizhzhia power plant, it will be too very big disaster for the whole world, not only for Ukraine or for Russia, because we should understand that power plants, it's a dangerous object of infrastructure, and I don't know how it translated by right, I know word blackmail. Yes, we say it chantage, but I know that literature by British by British English it's name blackmail, and Russia blackmailed Ukraine that they do something with Zaporizhia power plants. It's a very, very important object of infrastructure. So yes, if we talk a couple words about Zaporizhia power plants, yes, it's too so dangerous. I'm seeing a lot of Australians on my broadcast. Happy Anzac, my dear, and a lot of New Zealanders on my broadcasts too. New Zealanders and Australians. I will say again, Happy Anzac, but I'm a little bit late. Sorry. I do it as a possible. Doesn't have opportunity for broadcasting every day, but I want, but not so a lot time. Who don't know? We with Max come back to Kiev couple days ago. I'm see Batman. Hello Batman, glad to see you on my broadcast. And I'm see on our broadcast our old friends. It's Sam V, aka Croat, Elvin Archer. It's once of more activities auditory and our broadcast. Hello my friends. Sorry, I doesn't have a personal hello for our old subscribers and our activity auditory. I'm sorry, my dear Brian Damage to hear. Thanks, guys. You are visit all our broadcasts on our channel. Thanks for your activity, and you made a tornado in a chat. So, what about I told? I'm told that we are coming in a queue, and you can see Max on a broadcast with the operator Starsky yesterday, and one of my friends, aka Croat, asked me today why you don't visit this broadcast. If two guys will be on a broadcast, it will be broadcast. But if three guys will be on a broadcast, it will not be a broadcast. It will be a party. And I think that two guys, it's okay, but no more. Michael Michaels. Max was joking about calling you his pet animal. What? Because I'm not watching all broadcasts. Thanks for the information. I need a timing when he said about it. It will be a very, very big scandal and a very, very big catastrophe. And yes, so my dears, and we are come back. We had some rest. We had some preparing to the new deployment in the Donbass, because we know that in the Donbass area now situation a little bit bad. Yes, and we should amend reinforcements, and we should re-equip, and we should go again in a Donbass. So I'm seeing a comments that Max told many funny stories yesterday. I know maybe biggest part of the story in the real life, and I am not watch it fully broadcast. Yes. And when I'm said on a previous broadcast, just give your question in the comments after broadcast, and I think many popular question. How are you? And how is Max? I have one answer. I have a one answer. How are you? If I'm streaming for you now, it means that I'm alive, and it means that always okay. And I have two hands and two legs and always good. And other it's not important. Very good. And now we had a small rest after our deployment in the Donbass. And Kelandan, do you have more photos of you and your friends during childhood and military school? We enjoy seeing these photos. I have a lot. I think I have a lot. I'm just to check my Google Drive. I'm just to check my Google Drive, and if I'm find something, maybe I show. You mean military school, early military school or military academy? Because in a military school it was like a 11th class of board or public school. I was so young. I was 15 or 16, something like this. And yes, I have pictures from the military lyceum, but I'm so shy to show it. And on this broadcast, we had one man. It's a man with a call sign Batman. Batman, if you are here, just write plus in a chat or write something. If you are here. So Batman is a military volunteer in Ukraine. He fight for Ukraine, and so soon we will start a project. It will be not funny project. It will be serious project. It will be election. It will be training for civilian about tactic, about medicine. What you should do if war coming in your country, and so soon we will start making this contact. Yes, Batman are here. I'm just announcing your future project. So its project have name Winged Guitars because Batman is a Polish volunteer. And we made a channel, we made one video, but project not started on a 100% fully and totally. So soon wait content from us. And so yes, if you asking a childhood photo from a military lyceum, but I'm shy to show this photo because I was very, very young at this time. I was 15 or something like this. I'm just opening my Google disk, Google Drive, and yes, I have. You're ready for my military childhood? I'm just correct. It's on ABS Studio, and yes, and I'm showing 3, 2, 1. I'm with a gold sheet on my chest. Here I'm a 16 or 15, I don't remember. If you watch an interview with Brandon, Ukrainian TIBC, I'm talking during interviews that I'm serving not only military academy, I'm leave from the public school, border school when I started in a 10th class, and like a last of my class of a general education. It was a military lyceum, yes. And on this photo, I'm 16. I'm from a left side on a photo. If you see me good. If you see kids in a military uniform, it doesn't mean that we had a very militarized nation. No, it's just I think in all the countries we have cadet corps or something like this for young people who in the future will serve in army, for example. My friends on this photo, I'm a lose contact with these guys because it was 9 or 10 years ago, and if I don't with these guys on this photo, I doesn't have a contact because I don't know how it's like your classmates. It's a question for you. You have contact with all your classmates through a lot of years. If you said that yes, I will be very surprised. And those guys who go into the military academies after military, let's say, I have contact, but those guys who go into the civilian life, we lose this contact. Yes, maybe Cheryl Waitley said that on a Facebook. Yes, Facebook, it's a good opportunity for take contact with your classmates, but I think that some people it's important people, some people it's not important people, and guys who were important for me, who was important for me at this time, they important for me and now. And I don't know how life of those guys on this photo. We lose contact, but I have contact with my classmate from the lyceum who serving, and these guys fight now, and they serving too. They two officers, not all, but biggest part. And yes, we have a contact, but I cannot find a good photo. Biggest part of photo it's trash. Biggest part of photo it's a trash. Now I'm find one. It's a group photo. Biggest part it's a group photo. Why you asked me about lyceum? It's not a better period because I was so young. Okay, next photo. You ready? It was my study group, like a platoon, like a class or something like this. We had in our company, we had a two parallel platoon, two parallels group. I'm studied in a humanitarian group, and our parallel group it was maths, physical and maths group. And the biggest part from my philological group now on an active service and active duties they serve it and they fight. I think maybe 3 or 4 guys doesn't serving now. One guy's living in United States maybe since from 2017 year. One guy is just a civilian working in information technology sphere, and I don't know about life of this guy for today, but more important for me it's that I'm alive and my guy is alive. All people in this photo too alive. It's 100% information. And AK Krat 74 asking, Bhutan common? Not. It's not Bhutan. It's a very, very old Ukrainian camouflage name Dubok. Dubok, not Bhutan. Bhutan, it's a Russian version or Soviet, uh, late Soviet version or Russian. We use in Ukraine army at this period Dubok. So yeah, and I'm just a loose comments from a Batman. Yes. Batman answering for my announce that civilian part is gonna be public, but most of the work will be for Ukrainian military as long as the war continues. For obvious reasons, this will not be public. Yes, but some part of this project will be public, will be for civilian. We don't forget about civilian, because in my opinion, civilian role during the war, it's most sad role, because if you in an army, if you in some unit, you have a mates, you have a friends, you have a weapon, and you have more biggest chance for survive. But if war coming rapidly and you don't wait it like civilian people in 24 February previous year, they don't know what's doing, they don't know what's happening, what will be tomorrow and what will be after 1 hours, because Russian missile just hit it in a civilian houses, and they think that one targets of this project. One target of this project, it will be like a small guide for civilian, what you should do if war started or something disaster or something like this, and it will be so many interest and important information for civilian, not only but militaries. Batman, don't forget, we are co-owners. It's not a personal project. So yes, and as I promise, I'm check comments in on a previous broadcast, and one guy, it's a Carol Pepper. He give a very big question. I'm showing question on your monitor. He give a very big question. It's in one question, maybe 5 questions, and I'ma try to answer on this question. Okay, at first I'ma just check chat. Sorry, I'ma just I forgot about this chat, and yes, I'ma start blitz answering. Fat Boss asked it. Holding a real pistol? Not. It's not a real pistol. It's a toy, because it's a toy pistol because we were so young for pistols. We doesn't have a weapon in this school. Real weapon we doesn't have, but weapon for training we had. Find you bottom right. Yes. I have a one mark on my face. It's I don't know how it's for translate. One moment. It's a mole on my cheek, on my right cheek. It's a very big mark for identificate me. So Johnny and Jones are these equivalent to cadets, not a military school cadets, but just years military program. So I'm trying to describe how difference between public school in Ukraine and military lyceum. Max 2 Maxim too studied in a military lyceum. In military lyceum, you living by army orders. You living in a barrack or something like this. You wear uniform. Uh, you working by daily routine. At 6 o'clock you should wake up. At 10 o'clock you should go to sleep. And study program doesn't have a big difference between typical school. Yes, but for me, big difference was it's in a village school. I'm a study general program, education program, and it was not interesting, and it was a little bit difficult, and you cannot choose specification or future specialty for you, because every teacher coming on a lesson and said my lesson it's important, others not important. Yes, and for example, I have a five maths and geometry per week, but when I'm moving to the military school in a philology group, I have only one math on a week, and I understand that in the future maths it will be not important for me, and I must study Ukrainian language and Ukrainian literature and other philology lessons. So yes, but we doesn't have a big difference in a study program because it's a general education. But difference in a discipline, difference, I don't know. You like a small soldier, small military with a militarist problem. Yes, and you have some limits. You cannot go out from the military school for walking like a typical young boy in a public school who go into the home after lessons. Yeah, we doesn't have this opportunity. We live in by army order, and for me it was like a training or like preparing to the serious service. And yes, and I'm continue answer on your question in a chat. It's a Chris M. Who are important figures in Ukrainian literature for Westerners? Sorry, I'm lose your question, but I understand what do you mean. Uh, it depends from what information you wanna know about Ukraine. All information can be interested for Westerners, but we should choose period, and we should choose literature direct. For example, Taras Shevchenko, it's, sorry, one moment. He know all over the world. We had monuments for Taras Shevchenko in Canada, for example, in some states, in United States. He writing, it's a poetry, and he writing about Ukrainian slaves. It's not was a typical slaves. It's a better word, slaves. Serfs, and he write about serfs, and he write about Russian government, about Russian occupants war, colonial war on a Caucasus, and he show Russian politics on a Zeus time. He show Ukrainian typical problem in village, yes, because biggest part of Ukraine on this time it was a village, and he show Russian politic, and he show main Ukrainian problem, for example. And for more modern situation, it can be Vasil Stus. Vasil Stus, it's a part of Шестидесятники. Шестидесятники, it's a group who were repressed by Soviet government because they write about Soviet government, they write about Soviet special service like NKVD, who just mocked people, who kidnapped people, and they write about Soviet judge system and about and why Russian hate Ukraine. And he showed that Russia hate Ukraine because Ukraine have a culture, and how were repressed Ukrainian language, for example. It's in Soviet time. We had a lot of authors, and if you ask it what's important will be for the Westerns, I should ask you what's period important for you. It's and if you choose period, I can give for you more detailed answer. Team, I'm not Sasha, I'm Pasha. Okay, Crowd74, have you got insider seeing M113 yet? Yes, I'm seeing, I was inside. Our unit use M113, it's a good APC. We use M2 Browning machine gun, heavy machine gun for it. Main task for this APC, it's a medical evacuation, because armament so light and we cannot use it for the assault activities, but yes, we use it and I am see it in real life. So yes, I forgot about questions. Now I'm just will use question functions and check what do you ask us. And my dears, I should one moment. I should remind that our channel losing monetization because we had a lot of report from the Russian bots, and if you wanna support our channel, you can use two services, it's PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee services. I'm a pinned message with the links on our PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee. If you wanna support our channel and support our unit, you can use these services. So, my dears, I'm so sorry. I should leave from the general chat for one moment and answer on your question in question functions. So, and what I think, and I know that will be question. So, what food do you want to eat first after victory? It's it's a very interesting question. I don't know how you imagine situation in a civilian life. Aaron, sorry. I should mark who asked this question. Aaron asked, what food do you want to eat first after victory? I don't know how Western world imagination life in Ukraine, but we doesn't have a limit in the food. Our supermarket works, restaurants in Kiev and then the west of Ukraine works too, and we doesn't have so a limit. And I think that when we win, when Russia will be defeated, I'm just made a good dinner. And I will eat will eat what I will have, I think. it will be good day. But I don't know, we doesn't have a limited. For example, if we wanna eat pizza in Kyiv, we doesn't have trouble with it, or sushi or something like this. And if you watched Ukraine TBC, it's a Brandon channel. He showed that in a Donbas area we do have a small restaurants with borscht or soup or something like this. Yes, and we doesn't have a very big limit with food, and we don't hungry. Brain Damage asked, what is your favorite joke that you can share on YouTube? My personal and my favorite video on YouTube. If you mean video, I think it's Cats Vietnam Flashbacks. It's my favorite. But about jokes on YouTube, we had some censor on YouTube, and we have some limit on YouTube. And I think after my joke about that Russian will lose monetization, after my favorite joke we lose channel, I think. Maybe when we will have a Telegram channel with no limits, I show this joke, but not yet, not on a YouTube. Thanks for the question. And we continuous check your question, my dears. And a question from LB. Will Russia break into multiple countries or states? It's a very interesting question, and a lot of analytics, Ukrainian analytics, Western country analytics, thinking about it. And we had a couple scenarios about Russian future. Couple scenarios. One of scenarios, it will be that Russia not will be a big republic like now. You know that Russia it's a federation, and the Russian Federation include a lot of small republic, like a Republic of Buryatia, Republic of Chechnya, Dagestan, and something like this. I think that if we talking about this scenario, if Moscow will fall, if Putin will be defeated, we had a chance that will start, I don't know, revolution in this small republic, like a Republic of Tatarstan, because biggest part of republic on east of Russia can live in alone without Moscow, because they have oil, they have diamonds, and they have a strategic resources. And yes, small republic can live without Moscow, and it's one of scenario. Second scenario, Russia it will be one republic. Right now it will be a whole republic, but with other governments. But we don't know how reaction of small republic will be when Putin fail in this war. We don't know. Maybe small republic just wait when Ukraine win in this war and then made revolution. We don't know, but we know 100% that Russia don't can't exist like before war. We know it 100% because economics will be destroyed, reparation after war, and something like this. We know, we know that Russia cannot exist like before war. So when Iran asked, "Did your family live near Chernobyl when the accident happened?" Uh, One moment. I should make a small technical pause, maybe on a 30 second, maybe more shorted. One moment. Sorry, because I should do something with my hair because I can't control it. Now I'm sorry. And the question from the Iran asked, "Did your family live near Chernobyl when the accident happened?" My family lived in a Kharkiv, but Max from Chernigiv, Max's family lived so near, and if I don't mistake, his father took part in a his father was like a liquidator in a Chernobyl, but my family lived so far from the Chernobyl atomic station, and this catastrophe doesn't give so big influence on my family. Yes, it's an influence on the old Soviet Union, but I think on a region like a Chernigiv, like a Kiev, influence were biggest. Um, I hope that all is good. So I'm see that some trouble with the broadcast. I'm a lose connection. Sorry, bufferization. Sorry. I'm see that I'm a lose sound, and at this moment I'm lose not only sound, I'm lose admin panel, and I can't control chat and can't control broadcast. But now always good. I hope you hear me good. Right place, please. I hope that yes. I'm see couple errors on my broadcast program. Wait 1 minute. I'm just try to fix it. 1 minute, my dears. 1 minute. So yes, I hope that now always good. I hope that always good now. Just to write in the chat, do you hear me and see me good? Sorry, I have the some problem with the internet, and it's influence on a general situation even in my OBS studio, in my camera, in my microphone. I had a lot of errors. I can't control chat. Sorry. I hope that always be good. And we are continue answering on the questions. I'm just open question functions. And we are continuous. Okay, and I'm see a question. When do you think the ground will be solid? When ground will be solid? So the last time, for example, in a Kiev now, 2 days rainy. In a Donbass, same rainy. And I think that in a May, it can be, but now we can make prognosis about it because at 10 April or at 12 April in a Donbass was snow, and we doesn't prognosing it, but it's happened. And same situation with the rain. Fields now it's a totally dirt. It's a wet ground and it's a totally dirt, and it's a little bit not comfortable for combat activities. Yes, for heavy vehicle movement. It's making some limits. So yes, I think that ground will be solid maybe in early May or in a middle May, but not yet. Not yet. It's so soon. I hope it will be so soon. And I'm checking next your questions. Michaels. Pasha, do you have any idea of how many have died from Chernobyl? We should understand that die from the radiation, it's not rapidly die. You not die so fast. Yes, a lot of liquidators died from the radiation in Chernobyl in the first week. It's not small numbers of people. It's more than 100, 200 soldiers who was liquidators, but people who live in a territory near Chernobyl, who lived and live in a territory of Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and neighbor country. After this catastrophe, they have a biggest chance. One moment, I should translate this word. Get sick with a cancer, for example, and cancer, it's a two-part of influence of radiation, yes, and we cannot count victims because it's a very, very long process. We should understand it. A lot of people sick cancers, oncology, and something like this. And we are continuous. We're continuous checking our question. So yes, I'm sorry for the pause. I'm just checking private messenger. So text so small. I'm should be looking for the message, and the RNS. Not sorry, not RNS. One moment. Miriam Ward. Hello, Miriam. He asked from Miriam Ward, who was the president of USSR at the time? At the time, in 1986 year, when Chernobyl disaster happened, it was Gorbachev, Mikhail Gorbachev. If I don't mistake. Yes, it was Gorbachev, 100%. I'm just make a small fact checking. Yes, it was Gorbachev, but we doesn't say it only during Gorbachev time. We say the president of USSR. Before we say the general secretary of Communistic Party of USSR. We doesn't have a president before Gorbachev in USSR. Yeah, they use special names for the government leader. And I am continuous checking your questions. No, sorry. I'm talking about one man who give a very, very big question. It's man Carol Pieper. I show you this question for you. It's a question I find in a comment after my broadcast. I'm saying use it. If you wanna see something and hear something on the next broadcast, just write comments and comments after broadcast. I will check it and I will answer on this question. And it's a very, very big question. I'm just make a point. And the Carol people asked, what about wounded guys? They return on the front line or no? So it's an extended question, and I can't say it yes or no. We should describe situation. For example, a soldier was wounded in arm. For example, yes, it's a light wounded man. At first, he going to stabilization point, for example, yes, and a medical evacuation. When our combat medics or our doctors during med evacuation give a first medical aid, wounded soldier will be transported to the hospital in Donbas area. It's not a civilian city at first. He should be transported to hospital. For example, it's a big city like a Kramatorsk or Slaviansk, yes. And when doctors, real surgeons, stabilize him, he going to the big city like a Dnipro or Kiev to the clinic, and he will be so long time for the clinic. Doctors will work with him, and if it's a light wounded like an arm, maybe this soldier will be in a hospital no more than two months, for example, yes. If we told about light wounded, he will be 2 months in a hospital. He come back to the service and go to the special medical commission. After this medical commission, soldiers go to rehabilitation. For example, its rehabilitation will be not less than 30 days, yes, and 2 or 3 months soldier will be in a clinic, and after clinic he go to rehabilitation to 1 month. It can be two special places for the rehabilitation, or he just go to the home. And my face so bright, yes or no? And because on OBS studio looks good, but on YouTube so bright. And yes, after clinic course he go to the rehabilitation, and if he can fight, if it's possible, he come back to front line. If it's impossible, he do alternative work in a brigade, or he go to the service on a rear, for example, on a rear units, on a supply units. Yes, it's a once of a variant. If soldier will be more heavy wounded, for example, traumatic amputation or something like this, after medical course, the soldier will go to the pension. He will leave from the army. But we had a couple situations when soldiers can look food, yes, and he come back to the service with a protest, but it's not so often. And next question from the Carol Pepper: can you communicate it with your family? Yes, biggest part of the soldiers have opportunity for communication with family, not so often, not every day, not 2 hours per day, but they have opportunity to communicate. We should understand is it on a frontline city, we doesn't have a typical mobile signal, yes. We can use only Starlink, for example. But if soldiers or company, some unit go into the rear areas, they have mobile signal. For example, one company were on a position 1 month, and for a couple days he going to reserve. He leave from position, he changed on position, and going to the rear city. And in the rear city we have mobile signal, and they can talk with his family by mobile phone, by telegram, and something like this. But if they long time on a front line, on every command point we have a Starlink. And soldiers can come in on a command point, on platoon command point, for example, and call to his family if he need, and our soldiers do it. And a couple word about Starlink. On the biggest part of our Starlink, we paid only for your donation. We know that Starlinks for army now is not free, and we use any Starlinks from any country, and any country have any price. And we personally paying for Starlink for our Starlink on the Donbass, and for Starlink of our units. We paid for Starlinks only for your donation. Thanks for your support. And if you wanna support our channel, you can see services for support on a pinned message. Our chat, it's a PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee on your monitor under my face, and in a describe of this broadcast. Okay, I'ma come back to check chat. General chat, sorry, not the questions chat. And a question from AKA Crot 74. Flashback, can you talk about your experience working with K9s? What kinds of dog did you train with? Yeah, I was second company commander in a K9 unit, but I responsible only for the soldiers, and I personally don't do training with the dogs. Do training with the dogs in K9 units, special instructors. My zone of responsible, it was only personal, only soldiers, but we had if I don't mistake, one Labrador and 33 German Shepherd, and our soldier worked with a German Shepherd because it's I think better doggy for the service tasks. This we can use this dog, German Shepherd, for defense public order tasks, for finding ammunition, for finding explosive devices or something like this. And it's a good controlling dog. But I'm personally not trained dog. I'm understand little bit how it work, how we should do it, but I'm a served in a K9 unit not so long, yes, and I can't talk a lot about doggies, but small information I understand. And for service, so often we use the German Shepherd dogs. My dears Labradors just wanna lick you. Yeah, you are right, but Labradors, it's a too useful dog. For example, if you go into the defense public order, for example, on a stadium, yes, and kids moving through and try, yes, we control general and try on a stadium, and kids moving through and try. For example, if from big crowd German Shepherd can be angry, Labrador will not be angry. Labrador will be happy. Labrador will be funny, and Labrador too useful when you work with a big crowd, and you shouldn't be aggressive. Labrador, it's a good choice for the service dogs. Yes, but we had only one Labradors. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where they find it, but yes, one we have. Um, I'm gonna check question functions. I'm gonna check question functions, and I find very interesting question from RS. RS. My question: in which ways is life different in Kharkiv and Kiev before war? Mentality, demography, city life, pros and cons of the city. Wanna visit both after war. So yes, I'm a sometimes maybe 18 year, 19 year I'm living in a Kharkiv, and I can say about Kharkiv a lot. And in a Kiev I'm living from 2019 years. So we should understand it's a too big city. And before war, it was big city with a population more than 1 million people. It's a good urbanized city with a factory with a good infrastructures. I don't know how to describe, but Kharkiv more looking like a typical Soviet city. In Kharkiv, we doesn't have a lot of historical architecture, for example. Yes, we doesn't have a historical old or elder postaments, for example, because Kharkiv was twice totally destroyed during Second World War. Kharkiv maybe on a 40 or 50, maybe 70% looks like a typical Soviet city. But it doesn't mean that it's a typical city. Kharkiv, it's a student city, a lot of university, a lot of factories, I don't know, a lot of infrastructures for the students, a lot of restaurants, rest zones, park avenues. Kharkiv is a beautiful city, but it's city so close to the Russian border, and Kharkiv so long time was under Russian influence. Uh, in 2013, during the revolution in Ukraine, Russian separatists who come into the Kharkiv, they had idea made a Kharkiv civilian republic, KNR, yes, and so a lot of people support this idea. Now we understand that it's a shit. It was just a Russian agent, but biggest part of the older population who lived in Soviet Union before, they supported the but a separate Kharkiv civilian republic, and we had some percent people at this moment who doesn't support Ukraine. But when war started, political situation in Kharkiv so changing, because people who were under Russian occupation, they start to understand how difference between Ukraine and Russia, and now they more patriotic, they more like Ukraine. And Kharkiv is a good city with a good people, but they had some Soviet things. Kiev, it's a very big city, population more than 1 million, but you should understand that Kiev, it's capital of Ukraine, biggest business in Ukraine, staying on a Kiev. Biggest corporation, international corporation, staying in a Kiev. Historical quarters, architecture. I should translate this word. Architecture monuments in a Kiev. For example, we had Elder Rus Golden Gates. Yes, it was a renovated big defense gate, and this gate was built more early than 8th century, more early than 9th century, if I don't mistake. And the Kiev, it's a historical city, and it's capital of Ukraine. You should understand that Kiev more bigger, more modern, but with I think in a Kiev more worst road system. And the Kiev, it's a big, two sides of Ukraine, left side and right side, a lot of bridges, a lot of cars. Um, Traffic jam, and in Kiev we have not enough place for the parking car. It's maybe biggest problem. And Kiev all time was more patriotic city. In Kiev, biggest part spoke by Ukrainian language, because dominating language in Kharkiv, it was Russian language. Yes, biggest part of Kharkiv people talking in Russian, and me too talked in Russia sometimes before I'm coming on the service. But it's a two different cities. It's a capital and the students city. I cannot say it pluses and the minuses. I can talk only about these cities personally. I can't describe this city, and I can say why you should visit this city. I cannot choose what city best. Yes, it's all very good cities. I hope that I'm answering a question maybe a little bit, but I'm trying describe so political situation so short, uh, population situation so short, architecture and culture. I hope that I'm answering the question. Thanks for the question. Very good question. I can talk a lot about my cities. Res. Thanks for the question. Pasha, can you tell us your call sign and what is mean? My call sign is Metis. I don't know how Metis will be translated on English. I'm try. I'm try. Yes, Metis. It will be translated on English like a Metis. Metis. It means that I have mixed blood, because you can see that I'm a little bit darker. Yes, and it's because on my father line I had Tatars, yes, and we understand if, for example, mother European, father from the east country, yes, children will be mulat or metis, yes, and I am metis, and it's my call sign. It's very simple. And we continues checking your question. Sorry for the pause. My adjuster said stop because light uh, because light in my eyes. I'm just lose my mind when I'm so long time watching on a light lamp. I'm continuous checking your questions. Hubert, what is a liquidator? What did they do? Liquidator during Chernobyl catastrophe, they just clean consequences of catastrophe. For example, they clean ruins on a Chernobyl electric station. They try to fix some parts of nuclear station. They try to maybe not hiding. They try to bury radioactive waste, for example. But biggest part of work of liquidators, it was a cleaning ruins on a force energo section in Chernobyl atomic electrostation. Yes, liquidators just liquidate consequences of this catastrophe. I hope that I answer fully on your question. I don't know what saying more about it. Hubert, all of the European countries have a beautiful historic city. With a Kharkiv, very different situation. Kharkiv too had good historical quarters, because Kharkiv little bit old city, more than 380 years. But Kyiv, it's 1,100 years. For example, we had Lviv in Ukraine, yes, and Lviv, it's a symbol of European culture in Ukraine. A lot of European building, a good architecture, yes, and when you come in Lviv, you see that the Soviet communism hand doesn't touch it. In a Kharkiv, biggest part of historical building was ruined during Second World War. And who rebuilt it? Who renovated? You're right, 100%. Soviet Union. What can build Soviet Union in a late period? Yes, you are right. Gray boxes. Yeah, we had period with an interest in Soviet architecture during Stalin period and little bit later, but from 15th in Soviet Union start period of economy, and they start to build just not interesting, stupid, with not enough space, gray buildings. And just a gray box, it's the biggest part of Soviet architecture. Really, if you come in Ukraine, I will show you the Soviet quarter. We say that Khrushchevka, for example, and you understand what they mean. Because I think that only mad people can construct and then build it. It's a place for the depression. Yes, when you live in Khrushchevka, you have depression all time. What's you living there? Pasha, do you have bowlings alleys in Ukraine? Yes, in a shopping mall. We, for example, in Kyiv, we had a lot shopping mall, and we have a bowling in Ukraine. Why not? Ellie sending hugs. Thanks, Ellie. Me too, sending hugs for you. Yes, we had a bowling in Ukraine. If I don't mistake, I don't heard about separate bowling center, but in a big mall we have bowling. Yes. Bright Willis, Oregon asked about bowling. You wanna come in Ukraine for show your beautiful, great bowling uh, skills? And on a question about liquidators, Elvin Archer give a good answer. Thanks, Elvin Archer. They use the liquidators on the roof clean up reactor waste, kinda like human robots. They remote controlled kit. They had crap it out from radiation damage, electronics, I believe. Yes, you're right. Liquidators was used like people who will just cleaning in most dangerous radioactive territory. And we continues your message. So sorry, I'm losing your message. um, sorry, I'm just at 2 o'clock in Ukraine. Yes, I'm a little bit just to lose my things. And China Caldwell give a question. Do you think you will leave any buildings Russian built in Mariupol, or will you destroy it to build something better? It's a good questions, my dears. My dears, what do you think? How many buildings was built by Russian in Mariupol? I think that it was just a small quartal, 5 or 6 buildings for making show, because all Russian bloggers who are coming on a Mariupol, they recording only one buildings. And it's the same buildings. I think that all bloggers show only one buildings because it doesn't have more. They destroyed biggest part of Ukraine of Mariupol infrastructures. They destroyed biggest part, and now they try to show his shit because they just paint maybe good building or build some shit, and every time recording it. I think that when we liberate Mariupol, uh, we will not destroy Russian building because for what destroying couple buildings? Yes, we will go renovate and repair our building, but we should understand only architects can save me and can fix me. We should understand that after some catastrophe, after bombing or something like this, when buildings were ruined, we should give a mark for the building. Its building will be safety for living or no, for example. And the architecture just should come in this building, check all characteristics, and give marks. People can live here or cannot. And I think in the biggest part of building in Mariupol, we should be destroyed because people cannot live in this building because this building totally ruin it and lose communication like a water or a heat. AKA Krat, could you guys do an interview with the cooks on the front line? I'm curious what the favorite dishes the troops like on the line. Probably anything warm. Cooks on the front line, it's a very interesting question because on a front line, soldiers cooking for yourself, yes. We doesn't have a opportunity all time give hot nutrition for the soldiers, yes. Typically it's a soup, for example, yes, but our soldiers making food on a position, and they doesn't make a borscht under artillery shell. Yes, sometimes they do it because they crazy, but usually they just heat some conserve or some, I don't know, conserve meat, MRE, and something like this. Cooks cannot work on a front line directly. So, Lilith, are you going to live in a cream after war? You know, Lilith, it's a very good question. Why? Because if in Crimea after war, property, real estate, property, houses will be so cheap, maybe I can. But it's sitting near sea. All time property in this region was very expensive. And I think if it will be cheap, I think that yes. But I doesn't have money for house in a Crimea. Sorry. Batman, maybe in your unit they can improvise. There's old cooks in every company. And do you think that frontline cooks in Dnipro cooking for soldiers in a blindage, for example, in trenches, in ditches for soldiers 24 hours per day? I know how work his system. One cook or two cooks on a rear point, it doesn't mean that in a frontline cook. Batman, I know how it work. Song's not real. And my dears, I'm seized. I'm a little bit tired, and I feel that I should go to sleep. Thanks for your activity on the chat. Sorry, Zeman, don't answer on all your question because question a lot. Please, if you wanna say something in chat, during translation, just write comments under when. Sorry, I'm just a mixed word. I want to go to sleep. Just make a comments when this broadcast will be done. I will check these comments, make mark and answer on the question when I'm starting broadcast. Not all, but on the biggest part I'm answer. Thanks for your attention. Stand with Ukraine. Stay safe. Slava Ukraini. И добраніч, my dear.